And what's up, guys? Finally got over that cooler weather, and we are right back into heat and humidity again here across the Chicagoland area, of course. Talking about the current temperatures across the area: 82 degrees out there across Rochelle with the 55 dew point, and obviously across the Chicagoland area, including Joliet, 84 over 56. So definitely can feel the heat and humidity starting to pick up ahead of severe weather potential out there tomorrow across the Chicago region area. Um, what was I gonna do? Oh, no, I was trying to take off. Hmm, so there's our day 2 severe weather outlook here across the upper Midwest region area, which is coming into parts of Northeast Illinois and, well, Northeast Illinois, of course, in the Southeast Wisconsin area. But what is going to happen is that there's going to need to be a boundary, an outflow boundary that kind of sinks in with this morning convection. It kind of leads in like that. I'm guessing morning convection is going to be rolling down like this, and there could be additional storms that kind of form along this outflow boundary as it kind of pushes off to the southeast going into this general direction. So there could be a localized somewhat of a tornado threat with that outflow boundary. It kind of gets all pushed off to the southeast with the morning convection. This convection is anticipated to affect this area right here into the late morning hours, into the evening hours for the most part. So depending on mesoscale discussions and details as we get into tomorrow morning, look at the atmosphere and the actual visible satellite itself and kind of go from there. We'll see how our severe weather setup tomorrow could even increase more in potential, or it could also weaken based on what the morning cams look like and also what the visible satellite is showing us. But there is definitely a decent chance of some severe weather tomorrow across Northeast Illinois, where temperatures are also going to be in the 90s in some areas and lower 70 dew points mixing in there along that boundary. So let's go ahead and look at some of the forecast models here and take a look at what tomorrow is going to be like. I always put up the NAM 3 kilometer model, always looking at some of this boundary interaction here. One thing I'm also noticing that's coming down is almost like an MCV type storm, kind of dragging its outflow boundary with it. Very nice 500 millibar jet and 700 millibar jet there coming in out of the northwest as well. So there's definitely be enough shear and storms for very large hail and damaging winds. Tornado threat is very strongly dependent on the outflow boundary itself. That's why there's this STP significant tornado perimeter starting to pick up there. There is a decent photograph there with some sounding analogs all the way dating back to 2012 on here. There's some decent analogs showing some supercell characteristics and very large hail with some of these storms that interact with that outflow boundary as it gets shoved off to the northeast. Instability for the most part on this boundary is to be very decent. So that's what we're going to be watching here, is any storms that kind of develop along this outflow boundary here. It kind of gets pushed off to the southeast with the morning convection here. Either the morning convection gets going and reorganizes, or it weakens and then the outflow boundary becomes the main event, which we'll have to see if a cap does break on that outflow boundary, and it allows for newer storms to develop, of course, across the area. Looking at the mixed layer SEN here, pretty decent there along the outflow boundary, but on the south part of the outflow boundary, right there, maybe between Rochelle up to Freeport and Rockford area, there could be a decent chance of some storms developing if the cap does break a little bit. Surface-based SEN there shows cap breaking a little bit right there as well, just right there along the boundary. But I don't know if it's trying to show any initiation on storms developing. We'll have to see how the outflow boundary does interact and play out tomorrow. across the area. It is a low and marginal risk for severe weather tomorrow, so it's not anticipated to be a big time event. But there is definitely characteristics and dynamics in place for something higher end and localized. If the cap did break for, say, or if we did get a couple more storms to develop where they're supposed to be, maybe something bigger would happen tomorrow. But we'll have to see where that boundary sets up at, because the models are really not handling this boundary very well. All different scenarios kind of come into play here. Yeah, the HRRR model is just out the lunch on this one too. But really and realistically, we'll see where the outflow boundary does line up tomorrow across northeast Illinois, see if we get any severe weather out of this system. Smaller NCV system that kind of pushes down, so we'll go from there and see what happens. But stay tuned for later updates, of course. But welcome back, severe weather, of course.